turning now to the state of Kerala. Our methodology is that we've surveyed, remember, a large sample even here. How big is your sample, Pradeep, in Kerala?
28,342.
28,342 across all the constituencies of the state of Kerala.
All 234 in fact, but now 2 elections are held up.
Okay, I'm talking about Kerala.
You are talking about
Kerala. What is your total sample size in Kerala? While you look at that, I'm going to look at the numbers. Your total sample size, and you can then tell us the big numbers that I'm going to give you in the state of Kerala. Let's give you
16,500.
16,500 is what Pradeep says is his sample for Kerala. Let's turn to the big numbers then for a state that has traditionally seen switches in power every 5 years. This is what happened in Kerala in the exit poll. Remember, in 2011, 142 parliamentary constituencies surveyed in the state of Kerala, 16,449. We should say 140 assembly constituencies surveyed, 16,449, 33 dedicated surveyors is what we looked at. May 4th to May 16th, field work of the survey was conducted. Let's then turn to what happened in 2011 in the state of Kerala. The UDF of the Congress had 72, the LDF had 68, the BJP had not opened its account. So the UDF just edged ahead of the Left Democratic Front when elections were held in 2011. Take a look at what we believe is happening now in 2016 as per the Axis My India exit poll. The UDF is down to 38 to 48, so halfway point 43, it's taking a hit. LDF on the other hand is 88 to 101, so it has reversed its situation and gone well ahead of the UDF. Kerala is repeating revolving door. BJP, which was hoping to make a breakthrough, 0 to 3 is all that we are suggesting for it at the moment. Others 1 to 4. So clearly this is the best news possible that the left has got at the moment. This is the big story for the left. They've done badly in Bengal as per our exit poll, but they are making a big recovery in the state of Kerala. Manisha Priyam, are you surprised with that?
Not really. I mean, the numbers do seem too much for the Kerala history, and I do think the numbers will come down. I think
it'll be a tighter contest.
A much tighter contest, given the fact that Kerala is also, remember the numbers here, you need only a 71 for a majority.
Right.
So I don't think I would go with the survey on the magnanimity with which the left seems to be winning. And remember, on the ground, this is not the left or the Congress. This is a coalition, so to say. So there are many more players on the ground that are working to get this out there. And there's also the BJP. That is not simply the fact that the BJP may win or lose, but the fact that the BJP is chipping away at the social base of some of these parties.
Let me just ask Pradeep, what is your voter percentage? What vote percentage are you giving the BJP in Kerala at the moment? In vote
11%.
percentage? 11%. So the BJP is making a double-digit growth as per your survey in Kerala. Yeah, but it is still the highest ever when you compare it to Assembly. 6% in 2011. It's now up to 11%. Yes, Professor Shastri.
Rajdeep, if we were to go by the exit poll figures, we are seeing for the first time in Kerala after many years this big gap between the ruling and the opposition. Yes. And if these figures were to be correct, I think this gap can be explained in terms of not just the switch every 5 years, but I think the very strong sentiment against the government in power for the various scandals of corruption which are being talked about, and the infighting within the alliance. So I think if these
somewhat, you know,
if these figures were to be, and also the other point we made in the start of this program, that there seems to be a little social churning happening in Kerala. The traditional groups which were with the UDF and LDF are switching sides. Now that also could have been a contributory factor. And I think the minority vote in Kerala, the Christian vote and the Muslim vote, the fact that you have the presence of the BJP in several constituencies may have triggered off a move to support the likely party to defeat the BJP in that constituency.
Surprisingly, both the LDF and the UDF are actually fighting the BJP. Uman Chandi also comes and says, we are fighting the Kannur model. He does this only when polling for some constituencies has happened. So there's a charge that comes on Chandi is that Chandi was actually helping the BJP implicitly. So in a sense, the party that's got the lowest numbers is the party that both the LDF and the UDF seem to be fighting.
You know, that's interesting.
So you've got to bag the Christian and the Muslim votes That's been the race in Kerala. And to that, added to that, amongst the traditional Hindu vote base, the Idva vote, and remember also what we are not talking about, the BJP has taken away some amount of the tribal votes in Kerala. So a different strategy, and therefore the BJP
But it
is an
appears that the
emergent
BJP
actor.
has hurt the Congress. If these numbers are right, the BJP's 11% has made what is a traditionally two-party race, which is tight, in favor of the LDF. It could change 5 years from now, but certainly in 2016, the BJP's presence, it appears, has hit the Congress if his figures are right.
But Rajdeep, if you recall what I said at the beginning of my conversation with the senior BJP leader, who said they were in contention in about 6 or 7 seats, and that they were actually hurting both parties, and there was a strong anti-incumbency against the Congress, which Professor Shastri also suggested, which was so sharp that the left was winning anyway. I'd like to know what are the anti-incumbency figures for
What
the
are the anti-incumbency? What is our incumbency index of Kerala?
Yeah,
What is the incumbency index in Kerala?
It is pro-incumbency 37% and anti-incumbency is as high as 63%.
which is very, very high.
So it's a high anti-incumbency, and the interesting thing is Oommen Chandy himself was rated reasonably high. If you tell us in popularity for Chief Minister, Oommen Chandy actually does reasonably well. If I look at the numbers,
34%.
if I can look at those numbers
34%.
and tell it to our viewers, as per preference for next Chief Minister of Kerala, Oommen Chandy was at 34%, Achyutanandan is at 35%. So when you look at who you want as Chief Minister, it's almost a dead heat. But the moment you go into which font you want, the gap widens.
12% for Vijayan as well, as far as the left.
Yes,
which you have to account.
Pinarayi Vijayan gets 12, AK Antony gets 6. But if you look at the gap there, it's narrow. There is no BJP leader apart from O. Rajgopal who gets 7%. Ramesh Chennitala gets 2% when you look at chief ministerial preferences. But it is clear that the moment you look at the larger picture of Kerala, the left is taking full advantage of this 73%, which is an extremely high 63%
I think these
anti-incumbency.
figures are important because it shows, I think in the left, if you look at the left cadres and supporters,
Yes.
the support for the two leaders, Vijayan and Achyutanandam, is quite
High.
even. And this percentages show that the support for these two leaders, we need to club them together when we talk of the LDF support.
Having said that, if there is an anti-incumbency against the perceived corrupt Congress government, then Achyutanandan, with his very Spartan image, it will be difficult to deny him the chief ministry.
So as of now, it appears with these numbers, Achyutanandan set to become at 92, and correct me if I'm wrong, India's oldest chief minister.
Yeah.
Achyutanandan said to be India's oldest chief minister, unless our Tamil Nadu numbers start showing Karunanidhi is winning. If Karunanidhi is winning, he becomes the oldest chief minister that India has ever had. Otherwise, Achyutanandan is the oldest chief minister. Surjit, you have still hope, and so do I. You know, you can be chief minister of Punjab if you want. Who knows?
You know, one would have to look at the details once they come out, but I get this feeling, and this is what you were discussing in the beginning, which I missed, that, you know, which way the BJP voter, either potential or actual in 2014, has voted is corrupting, if you will, quote unquote, the political process in terms of the traditional victories or the traditional candidates or the traditional parties. And I wouldn't rule, in other words, if this sweep is there, which is what you are projecting, then it is the case that the BJP voter, maybe according to your survey, actually they get 11%, which is what they got in the Lok Sabha. But to the extent that the potential for them was higher, they didn't go. I would think that there was no chance for them to vote for the Congress.
But you see, this is a disappointing result then for the BJP. If these numbers hold, will the BJP see it as a disappointment at the end of the day? Because they got the same, they're getting the same percentage as 2014. They would have hoped to increase their voter percentage.
Well, if
that hasn't happened.
But it depends whether they get 0 seats or 3 seats. If they get 3 seats, it's
a breakthrough. So it's the number of seats now.
Look, it's a breakthrough, and of the architecture itself, they've been able to knock out a lot. If V.S. Achyutanandan becomes the chief minister, he would owe it to the fact that so much was being hyped about the Idva base having gone that
I want to go to our reporters. I'll be getting T.S. Sudhir, Veera Raghav. Our reporters will be is joining me at the moment. Veera Raghav, you're joining me and you're giving us a sense of all that's happening in the south. Are you surprised with these numbers that we are giving for Kerala, where clearly at the moment it appears that we have a huge lead for the Achyutanandan-led LDF?
I think I'd agree with what Priyam said, that the numbers seem to be large, but it seems like the left has an edge, and it's been that way all throughout. And remember, through the campaign, there was also one point that the UDF did. Umman Chandi sort of made it a Congress versus BJP battle towards the last end of it, and the left was doing its own campaign at the bottom level. There are infighting between both sides. But having said that, Rajdeep, I think the extent of victory that you're giving for the left in terms of seats seems to be a little large. It may be much more mellow than that.
It may be a narrower lead than that. And Pradeep Gupta, remember, is an outlier. I must tell all our viewers, he tends to give these big numbers. And no, Pradeep, that's your reputation now, that you give outliers. I'm not saying they're wrong.
That is the reality. What can I do?
No, it may be the reality. But as I said, most people expected a closer fight there in the state of Kerala. That close fight is not materializing.
Let me tell you, it was the closer fight 1 month back when we do the survey generally in 2 to 3 rounds first to understand the ground realities. So they were very close. I would say like 75-65 types.
Yes.
But the days progresses, and
you mean
like
as the campaign picked up somewhere the left
picked up, and it's a wave these days, because of technology, because of communication. The communication is so rapid and fast among the relatives and friends and this whom you are voting this time, and it gets translated.
That's an interesting observation. That's an interesting argument, but we are finding that in more. You don't agree with that, Professor Shastri? You don't agree with
I agree with the first
Kerala
part of his
voter.
statement that the campaign sees a change.
Yes.
But I'm not too sure whether that change happens because of communication between relatives and friends,
no,
because
I'm saying-
Kerala is a totally different
Kerala is
picture
a
in
different
terms of
place.
Kerala.
Kerala is a different place. It's a far more educated, club-based, group-based. Remember, there is a lot of youth activism. There's Put Chutney there, talking about voting for the best candidates.
Right.
Lots of smaller groups, very organized. In fact, even a strong campaign to say that vote for the Nota. In fact, one of those.
And I think the fact of a campaign in Kerala is very critical.
Very
Issues
organized set of people. BJP itself, for example, highly organized on the ground. Look at Palakkad, look at the municipality where they've won a majority. I mean, the whole campaign looks very different from whatever it looked like in Bihar. I don't think that just messaging and SMSing and rumor mongering would take at least the Kerala voters.
Let me take a short. Hold on. Let me take a short break, because let me take a short break. We will take a short break. We'll come back to Kerala in a moment, because I want to go in a moment to the other big state of Tamil Nadu and the Union Territory of Puducherry. When we return, we are turning to the battle which, in a sense, as I keep repeating, is the ultimate nightmare for exit pollsters. The state of Tamil Nadu. Money power, freebies, anti-incumbency, floods. Who's winning? Jayalalitha or Karunanidhi? Big story that we've been giving you. We are now turning in our exit poll to the crucial state of Tamil Nadu, a state which over the years has thrown up many an election surprise. And let's therefore turn straight to our magic wall and go to the state of Tamil Nadu and see what's happening there, who's ahead, and what's at stake in this big battle for Tamil Nadu. As our wall opens, I want you to tell us the methodology, Pradeep, for Tamil Nadu. What is the sample size?
Yeah, it is 28,342 sample size, 46 dedicated surveyors over 13 days of fieldwork from May 4 to May 16.
Okay, so it's a fairly large sample size.
Yes.
In a state where, remember, polling has actually taken place today and was continuing to 6 p.m. So lots of riders, lots of caution normally when an exit poll is done for Tamil Nadu. Remember, Tamil Nadu exit poll, as the methodology says, 242, and we must keep changing this to assembly constituencies. 234 assembly constituencies surveyed, total sample size over 28,000, and remember, the 46 dedicated surveyors went to Tamil Nadu May 4 to May 16, including today the field work done. Remember, I will keep saying this is the most difficult state to predict in most elections. This is what happened in 2011. The AIADMK alliance had 203. The DMK-led alliance had 31. Others were down to 0. AIADMK 33, DMK 31. 234. It was a sweep for Jayalalitha. What is the Axis My India poll for India Today saying in elections 2016? And this is the big result. AIADMK, as per this survey, is losing power. 89 to 101. it's the DMK which has the advantage 124 to 140. Karunanidhi could actually upset Achyutanandan and become India's oldest chief minister. BJP 0 to 3, not making much headway. Others 4 to 8. And remember, these others include the third front led by Vijay Kant and also smaller parties in Tamil Nadu that had formed their own fronts. Clearly, though, it is advantage Karunanidhi. I want to go to our man in Chennai, Veera Raghav, joining me. Veera, give me a sense of what you've been saying that DMK was picking up as the campaign continued. What is your sense with these numbers? Is it a tight race even now because of money, power, freebies, and also Jayalalitha's own appeal among women voters?
It would have been a nightmare, I would have expected, for anyone to have converted the vote shares into seats in Tamil Nadu this time, Rajdeep. And that's really the key here. It's going to be an extremely close race. You're going to see those 1,000 vote difference victories that you're going to see there. But I would agree with the general feeling on the ground would tend to verify the kind of exit poll results that you're giving out. Look, Jayalalitha, this term has been non-controversial. She's been far more mature as a politician in terms of approaching, in terms of giving out even the list of candidates. For instance, she has included troublemakers, which has never been the case in AIADMK. She's been accommodative in terms of including people who had estranged and left the party earlier, like C. Ponnayan, for instance, who had fell off with her. She's given him a ticket. She just did not want trouble, and she knew this was going to be a close battle. Having said that, it's going to be, there is bound to be an anti-incumbency against her, and the DMK, well, has been a smaller party than the AIADMK. Remember, in a head-on battle, if you take vote shares, the DMK is a smaller party than the AIADMK. But with the Congress and possibly with a little bit of anti-incumbency was what their edge was always going to be. And they've been on the campaign. So I would tend to agree with the kind of figures that you're putting out, though I think the the vote shares will be extremely close.
I want to come to T.S. Sudhir, who's also been tracking Tamil Nadu and Kerala closely for us. There, our editor South. T.S., you've seen those two results, first Kerala, now Tamil Nadu. Your sense on the ground, did the DMK pick up momentum during the campaign?
Well, to an extent, yes. When we looked at the entire lineup, the fact that there were many other parties opposed to the AIADMK, it looked like the AI arithmetic would go in favor of Jayalalitha. But it is the chemistry that seems to have worked. If you have to go by the numbers that you're putting out, Rajdeep, the chemistry seems to have worked for the DMK. One, the huge makeover for MK Stalin, who has really led this entire campaign for the DMK. Yes, Karunanidhi, pretty much like A.B. Vajpayee saying, not tired, not retire. So he's not making way for his son yet. But Stalin's choosing to wait, even at 64, the senior citizen is still junior to become the chief minister of Tamil Nadu. So it will be Karunanidhi, but MK Stalin really leading the campaign in Tamil Nadu. So the chemistry seems to have worked. Also the fact that, as Veera Raghav was pointing out, the anti-incumbency factor. We saw instances of ministers of Jayalalitha's cabinet actually getting attacked by villagers, especially in the districts in North Tamil Nadu which faced the flood fury. So there was anger, simmering anger against the ministers, against the sitting MLAs, which was really not really very visible before the campaign started. But once they actually started visiting the villages, campaigning, canvassing for votes, that anger seemed to have come out. Jayalalitha seemed to believe that the freebies would do the trick. The numbers show that perhaps it has not really managed to do so in a very effective manner, and that really seems to have gone in the DMK favor. The other parties who were supposed to take a chunk of the vote share away from the DMK and splinter the anti-AIADMK vote, that also does not seem to have worked if you have to go by those numbers.
If you have to go by those numbers, and I'm going to keep saying that big if, because this is a state where I am getting conflicting reports. There are those who are saying AIADMK in the last 72 hours has swung the election once again in their favor. The talk of Jayalalitha's manifesto, her traditional support among women voters. Sandeep Shastri, should I put the maximum caveats in the case of Tamil Nadu compared to any other state in this election?
Of these four states, beyond a shadow of doubt, this is the most difficult state for a prediction. I would take the point which Veera made a little further. Veera was saying that more important to understand in Tamil Nadu is the vote share of the alliances. Because how has that, I mean, converting that vote share into a seat share becomes critical.
Yes.
Because you have both the DMK-led alliance and the Vijaykanth-led alliance, which are seen largely as anti-Anna DMK alliances.
Yes.
Is there likely to be a split in their vote which will work to the advantage of the Anna DMK and therefore allow them to squeak through, as you said, the reports which are coming in for the last 72 hours? So I think it's a it's the tightest race that you have in the 4 races. And I think the nature of the vote division between the 3 alliances, I think, is critical here.
I think
Yeah,
Yes.
You know, one is that of the 4 states covered by
Yes.
the poll, this is a very close race by any standard, even by your standards.
Yeah, it could, you know,
It's
because
101,
because even if 1% swing takes
Yeah,
place the
yeah.
other side, it could become very, very tight. Though the tradition is that one side usually takes all in Tamil Nadu. It's not a state which is the end, unlike Kerala, which is
one,
tightly
that
controlled.
the
Because
poll
it's so
shows that
strongly
it's a
bipolar.
lot closer
Yes.
than, if you will, it appears. Second,
Yes.
let me go on record. I think one of us will have to be right on Tamil Nadu. I hope it's me. I traveled there. I certainly did not talk to anybody or met anybody or talked to anybody who was switching from Jaya. So therefore, I think she's holding on to the vote. The point that you made, the opposition is split, and I just don't see it. But obviously, elections are elections. I just don't see this happening there.
Rajsi,
And
yes.
last point, what we expected in Kerala, that is a close race, is actually happening in Tamil
Rajdeep,
Nadu.
if
Yes,
I-
go ahead. Yes.
2 points. One, I'd like to know the incumbency factor in Tamil Nadu. The other thing is, voters across states tend not to favor spoiler parties. Has that also happened in Tamil Nadu? I don't know how much has the Vijaykanth-Vaiko alliance got in terms of vote share.
The anti-incumbency factor is important. What is the incumbency index?
So here it is pro-incumbency, I would say first 34%, and anti-incumbency is ranging from 36% to 66%. Let me tell you why Tamil Nadu is
But that's a
coming
huge
very
range.
fast. That's a huge range. That's the reason why. If you see the area like Trichy, Vellore, Salem, Madurai, where AIADMK is sweeping like anything, leaving no seats practically in these districts for the DMK,
Right.
and that is making out the pollsters' life very difficult.
But
And
I presume in Cuddalore, Villupuram, Kanchipuram, in Chennai, whichever were affected by flood,
And
she's
there,
doing badly.
yeah.
She's doing badly in the Kaveri Delta,
That's
where
true.
there is agrarian
That's
distress and a
That's
power
true.
crisis. So
That's
different parts of
That's
Tamil
true.
Nadu are voting differently.
So naturally, anti-incumbency has
And how
to
is the
run from.
Vijaykanth-Vaiko
Yeah.
alliance doing in vote share?
Yeah.
As per our survey, the Vijaykanth-Vaiko factor has not made that much of a difference. Am I correct?
They are definitely
They're
getting
getting
into
votes.
votes. They are
They're getting
definitely
votes.
getting into votes as high as 21%.
21%?
Okay.
Yes.
In some parts.
Others,
Yeah.
I am saying others including all.
Okay, so
I
that
mean,
really-
leaving.
Yeah.
That would
Once
have
again, leaving
Jayalalitha
DMK,
still hopeful.
AIADMK
No,
and
no,
BJP.
No, let me
aside.
ask that to Veera. Veera, this was the traditional feeling that if the other parties are getting as high as 21, this divided vote will work to Jayalalitha's favor. That is not happening.
That is if you see Jayalalitha and the anti-incumbency vote getting split between the two. But there's another logic as well. Remember that the anti-DMK is the AIADMK vote. In tradition, it was NGR who broke the DMK and came out. So those who are anti-DMK conglomerated behind the AIADMK. So you may have a situation where the AIADMK votes may also get split by the third force. I'm not saying it's only that. Within that 21%, in certain constituencies, you would have a situation where there would be more of the anti-incumbency vote getting split. In another set of constituencies, it could work completely differently.
Right.
Remember, this is a very a mixed alliance with someone like Vaiko, who represents the origins of the Dravidian movement and the ideology, with someone like Vijaykanth, who comes in recently. So it's a very ideologically confused alliance. So see it on a seat-by-seat basis, which is why I'm saying that the battles are going to be extremely close, seat by seat. We'll have to take this exit poll with a rider, but the general feeling has been that because in the last 25 years you've constantly had change, it's a disenchanted electorate which may vote for change.
And there are, of course, issues like prohibition and other issues that we haven't reflected, because I got a sense, Sudhir, that one of the reasons why Jayalalitha was losing some popularity among her traditional woman vote was the prohibition factor. I'm just wondering, as you traveled through Tamil Nadu, did you notice differences from region to region?
Well, yes, to a large extent, but largely the women vote despite that disenchantment with the fact that she had not enforced prohibition, but not really moving away en bloc from Jayalalitha. So the women vote would probably still stay with Jayalalitha to a large extent because she also has promised phased prohibition. So in that sense, prohibition is a promise that every party in Tamil Nadu has made. But the more important factor would be how the youth will vote, because the fact that there are not enough jobs is a major factor, especially given the fact that there are a large number of first-time voters in this election. How the industry is behaving, because it is really percolating down with a lot of people going unemployed, and that is becoming a factor. So those are the kind of people who don't really come out and talk, the workers, the labor class, but they are definitely unhappy. But Jayalalitha has tried to behave that, okay, let me hand out these freebies, let me make your life good, and you can still vote me for another 5 years. And that has been the attitude of the AIADMK. But the anti-incumbency largely, and as we have seen in successive elections, probably the reason why many exit polls and opinion polls in Tamil Nadu go wrong is that there is a silent kind of a resentment that slowly builds up, which throws out the ruling party. And that's what we have seen in the last 3 decades.
Let's take a break at this point. When we return, we are going to go to Ramesh Chennithala. The Home Minister of Kerala will be joining us to get a reaction to our poll survey there. Remember, Tamil Nadu and Kerala are the big states that we've been looking at. Also after the break, we'll look at the state of Puducherry, the Union Territory of Puducherry. Normally votes the same way by and large as Tamil Nadu does. Similar parties come to power. It didn't happen though, remember, in 2011. What's happening there in 2016? Puducherry and Kerala next. Of the exit polls are coming here. The APM My India exit poll for India today. I want to turn now to the state of Puducherry and tell you exactly what's happening in the state of Puducherry. Remember, Tamil Nadu, we are saying it's the advantage to the DMK, the Assam election advantage BJP, Kerala advantage left front, Mamta sweeping Bengal. Let's turn to Puducherry, the smallest state and the Union Territory of Puducherry, and look at the numbers for a tiny state of Puducherry. This is what we are saying. 2016, the All India Rangaswamy Congress got 8 to 12%, ADMK 1 to 4%, DMK had 15 to 21%, and 0 to 2%. 2016. How is it then translating into seats? Take a look at what we are saying for seats at the moment. We are saying the AINRC should, at the moment, these are seats actually. We should be looking at these as seats. 8 to 12. 1 to 4 for AIADMK, 15 to 21. Sorry about the percentage mark. These are seats at the moment. So it appears, as of now, both DMK winning in both Puducherry and Tamil Nadu, which usually happens. And they seem to be benefiting from that. It didn't happen in 2011. There was an aberration, but by and large, it seems that Karunanidhi is making a famous comeback. Yes. This is as good as it gets for the DMK.
And many of the Puducherry areas are actually enclaves within Tamil Nadu. They're not contiguous. So this
can I get in Veera Raghav and Sudhir again?
Just tell you about what's happening on the mainland.
Rajya Sabha possibilities for Mr. Chidambaram.
It opens up Rajya Sabha possibilities for Mr. Chidambaram, says Ashok Malik with a smile on his face. But let me bring in Veera Raghav. Pondicherry, are you surprised?
No, Rajdeep, just to add to the point that you're making, that it's that Pondicherry has always gone the Congress way. It's the DMK had always played, or the AIADMK had played a supporting role to the Congress. It's always been a Congress, this one in that state. So, once it's a DMK Congress alliance, I wouldn't be surprised at all that Rangaswamy is considered one of the most credible faces, and it may not be a Karunanidhi effect in Pondicherry. I would believe that it's more of a Rangaswamy effect, and the old traditional Congress vote going back to the one with a stronger alliance.
Sudhir, overall, as I look at the south, these three states, Kerala going towards the left, but Tamil Nadu going with the DMK, Puducherry also switching sides. Am I to understand that there is a general disenchantment among the voters of the ruling party if these results hold, whether it is DMK, whether it's AIADMK in Tamil Nadu or Chandi's Congress-led government in Kerala, generally the voters are disenchanted, they want more.
Well, the voters are definitely sending out a message. I don't know whether it will be right to have a pan-deep south kind of message that the voters are sending out, but definitely in pockets. For instance, looking at Kerala, even though the Chandi government was constantly talking about development mantra being their calling card, the fact that is the the United Democratic Front in Kerala is pretty much united only in name. The campaign that they ran, the LDF in fact was almost 2 weeks ahead in the campaign. They were campaigning both Pinarayi Vijayan and V.S. Achyutanandan when the UDF was still struggling between the Oommen Chandy camp and the VM Sudhiran camps on who to hand out tickets. Oommen Chandy actually making it a prestige issue that all the tainted ministers, MLAs, MLAs in the UDF should be given tickets, otherwise he will not contest. So till the last moment there was bickering. All this is noticed by the extremely politically aware Keralite on the ground. He notices the fact that this is not a party which he would really want to invest in for the next 5 years, which is probably the reason why, even though the LDF has not made it clear whether it will be Achyutanandan or a Pinarayi Vijayan who will become the chief minister, they have probably decided to go ahead with them. Of course, the big battle in typical CPM fashion will probably be played out if the LDF comes to power, because Pinarayi Vijayan really commands the support of a majority of the people who have contested this election should they win the elections, and the LDF comes to gets a majority, but the masses, the cadre is really behind V.S. Achyutanandan.
You know, it's an interesting phenomenon that we've seen in the South, where you've seen over the years in other parts of the country, governments are getting re-elected. But in the South, particularly in Kerala and now to Tamil Nadu also, over the last 30 years and Kerala 50 years, Karnataka to a large extent, governments are not getting re-elected. Is it because voter expectations are high? Because these are not bad governments. Many say Oommen Chandy himself was a decent chief minister. Many say that local administration, Jayalalitha, at least for a large part of her term, was reasonable. The floods may have, may have shown her weakness at some level, but by and large they've been decent governments. Why are they not being re-elected? Is it voter expectations too high, or is it general disenchantment?
Even I think the poll shows Chandy is reasonably popular. Jayalalitha may be popular, but then the nature of alliance A and the response to the parties in power B is what is driving voter response.
Because Jayalalitha is ahead of Karunanidhi. When you ask who do you want as your preferred chief minister, she is ahead of Karunanidhi.
And
so
you showed also
chief ministerial stakes, Jayalalitha does reasonably well, Chandy does reasonably well, and yet the governments are being voted out if our survey is right.
Which goes to prove the point we have been making from the beginning, that in Kerala and Tamil Nadu, alliance chemistry is critical. The nature of groups that come together is so very important.
Alone without an alliance, if these numbers are right, may actually have cost.
And I think the point which Sudhir made was very important. The left has been very clever in Kerala this time of not projecting a leader. And I think given the nature of the cadres of the left, by not projecting a leader, they have allowed Achyutanandan supporters and Vijayan supporters to come together
to
and vote
together
en bloc for the alliance.
No, but at that same time, we also need to realize that Oommen Chandy had a good image. There was VM Sudhiran. If you look at the Congress case, he has a very clean image. He comes up, he's the one who raised the issue of prohibition. He's the one who said, let's give tickets to youngsters. So Oommen Chandy and plus VM Sudhiran do not add together to make a chemistry. But here Achyutanandan and Pinarayi Vijayan, for all their differences, they make a chemistry. Achyutanandan really leads the battle against Narendra Modi. He does the vernacular, so to say, Shauchalayam versus Sapadam. So he is the linguistic hero who's taking the battle to the court of Narendra Modi himself, and it's Pinarayi Vijayan who's got the factions with him. The numbers are with Pinarayi Vijayan.
Right.
So here is Achyutanandan and Pinarayi Vijayan. The combination works. Between Sudhiran, VM Sudhiran and Oommen Chandy, the numbers does not work. Remember the diktat that comes from the church, the pastoral letters that come only a week ago. So people were still watching whether this combination could do something. That hasn't happened.
Let me take a break, because in my final segment, I'm just going to round up our 5 big results that we've given you. We'll be having the politicians join you at 8 p.m. We've kept most of the politicians out so far, barring the newsmakers, because politicians will always rubbish an exit poll if they're getting it wrong. If they're losing, we'll endorse it if they're winning. At the end of the day, I want you to remember, if the poll is right, we get the credit. If it's wrong, Pradeep Gupta and Axis take the blame. Let's take that rider, because I'm worried that if we get it wrong, Jayalalitha will switch off our channel in Tamil Nadu. That's my big worry at the moment. Axis, My India exit poll for India today, that's giving the big results of 2016. Remember, counting on 19th, we're giving you a teaser of what we believe has happened in the battleground states. Kerala exit poll, UDF 38 to 48. Uman Chandi on his way out, it appears, because the left is getting 88 to 101. Achyutanandan or Pinarayi Vijayan will be the next chief minister. BJP plus 0 to 3, others 1 to 4. Clearly advantage left, much in the tradition of Kerala where governments change every 5 years. Come to Tamil Nadu, and this is the one with the big caveats because the gap we believe is a narrow one. AIADMK 89 to 101, we are saying. DMK 124 to 140, BJP 0 to 3, others 4 to 8. But it is a close run race. A little percentage swing and voter turnout can make a difference. But for now, it's advantage to the 93-year-old Karunanidhi over Jayalalitha in the state of Tamil Nadu. Let's turn then from Tamil Nadu to our next big state, which is the state of West Bengal. Take a look at what is happening in Bengal. Remember, in Bengal, it has been dominated as of now. Assam first and then Bengal. In Assam 2016, BJP heading for a famous victory. 126 seats, halfway mark is 63. They are 79 to 93. This would give BJP its big breakthrough in the northeast. Congress down to 26 to 33. AIUDF 6 to 10. Others 1 to 4. But Tarun Gogoi was on our program. He is refusing to accept these results. Believes it will be much tighter, as some other polls we are told are already suggesting. Let's then turn to the next big poll state, the state of West Bengal. And this is what our exit poll here is saying. TMC 233 to 253. It's a storm and andhi for Mamata Banerjee. Left Congress 38 to 51. BJP 1 to 5. Others 2 to 5. So clearly it is advantage to Mamata Banerjee. She's sweeping West Bengal. Puducherry, the small union territory of Puducherry. And here again, we are now seeing the effect of Tamil Nadu resonating slowly on the state of Puducherry as per our exit poll, because it shows 8 to 12 for the ruling AINRC, AIADMK 1 to 4, the DMK Congress local alliance 15, Congress alliance 15 to 21, the Congress winning the small state of Puducherry as per our survey. I'm going to get my panelists. We've got about 5-7 minutes to get quick reactions from each of you. Ashok, give me a big takeaway, one big takeaway. We just have 5 minutes.
Okay, one, the BJP would be very happy with these numbers if they turn out to be true. It's made its mark in Assam, of course, and also to some degree in Kerala and Bengal, where it's emerged as a factor.
Not so much in Bengal, but certainly in Kerala, and certainly doing very well in Assam.
It's retaining 10% of the vote in Bengal, which is more than we expected.
Okay.
The bad news for the Congress, because it has nothing to show for the alliance with the left, which was a big experiment, could have been an innovation going into 2019. It's got nothing to show for that. It's lost Kerala too, if these numbers are correct. It faces a very, very suspect future in the short run, at least.
Manisha, 30 seconds, quick.
Okay, so the clear thing is that corruption doesn't seem to be a charge that sticks on in all cases. In Tamil Nadu, for example, if the DMK comes back, then all the charges of big corruption cases made against their allies and them not sticking. Mamata herself, Narda and Sarda not working. Something else is working. In the south, however, the parameters for change don't seem very clear. If Kerala still has its hopes pinned on a 93-year-old leader, there is something that's preventing political change from happening, even though the voter and the electorate have turned to a rather young lot, even in that state.
You know, my sense is, and a good point was made on the issue of corruption. Mamata was hit by corruption scandals before the election. Uman Chandi hit by corruption scandals before the election. Tarun Gogoi has had his ministers facing corruption scandals. Jayalalitha has had, has been in and out of jail. And yet you find that corruption doesn't seem to have been a dominant issue in any of these states. It is what you call governance. And I've often wondered what that governance really means. Do you get a sense? Is there a pattern which we can discern from any of these trends, these elections?
If you look at the exit poll as we are seeing in all the 4 states, 3 are clearly on expected lines. The one which is a little difficult to predict is Tamil Nadu as to whether really it goes the way it is. But in all the 4 states, Rajdeep, if you notice, the question of governance is critical. In Assam, 15 years of anti-incumbency. In Kerala, one, of course, every 5-year turnover. Secondly, the big question marks raised about the UDF government and its performance in 5 years. In Tamil Nadu, if the DMK alliance were to lead, I think the presence of an absentee chief minister was something which will be a big factor
in the last 2 years, Jayalalitha wasn't quite the same leader that she's been in the past.
And in West Bengal, of course, it's too early to talk about anti-incumbency because you have 5 years of of Trinamool after several years of left rule.
Give me the big national picture if these results hold. Is it your theory that the Congress is the party on the decline?
Well, the big national, you know, coming into this election,
Yes.
the BJP had literally nothing to lose. This must have been the best election they've ever faced or participated in. They had nothing to lose. There was zero expectations from them. And the Congress, if you will, had everything to lose. The net result, the BJP has won some, and the Congress has lost everything.
You know, that's interesting because I just want to point out, and we'll come with a poll of polls later tonight. Most of the polls are giving Jayalalitha the edge at the moment.
So am I.
You know, so is Surjit. I'm saying 50-50 because I'm worried, you know, about Tamil Nadu always. How confident are you about the Tamil Nadu numbers? Because you pointed an interesting factor to me. Among women voters, Jayalalitha is leading. Among male voters, it is Karunanidhi who's leading. Now, if more women voters come out on polling day, and we are still to get the overall numbers of percentages today, Tamil Nadu is the one state where we could go wrong.
Let me tell you the overall view. The voters demanding more accountability from the politician as usual, be it development, presence and availability when people need them. I mean, that's the crux. That's the reason why out of 5 states, 4 states, they are literally throwing out the governments, the present government, and only in case of West Bengal, where it is the reality after 30 years or more than that rules of left and the kind of state this state was in. I mean,
I am asking you about Tamil Nadu. How confident
But
are you about?
He should state, listen, his vote shares are 39-37,
Yes.
which means 1 percentage point
Can change
will
everything.
swing the election.
Am I
He's
correct?
not defending
Am
himself
I
very
correct?
well.
Tamil Nadu is as close as that.
It's close.
39% plays 37.
Definitely. See, I'll tell you, it was like till last night, it was literally tight. As Dr. Bhalla suggested, it was like 40-40. I told all the teams, don't sleep, go to the street, report to me by 11 o'clock tomorrow after noticing the 7 a.m. to 11 a.m. and they notice me, and based on my survey.
Okay, quickly, yes.
I think voter turnout today is critical. You had a very low voter turnout early in the morning. Voting has picked up along the day. And if Tamil Nadu has had a relatively low voter turnout, I think it will be critical in favor of AIADMK.
Okay, so I'm
A
going
lower
to leave it
voter
there.
turnout
I've
is in
run
their
out of
favor.
time. The reason I'm doing this is,
I will be the
remember,
opposite.
exit
Straight
poll. I am a little skeptical, remember, about exit polls that are done on the same day that voting takes place, because we get very little time to actually
little time to
rationalize the numbers, understand and analyze the numbers. But as far as Axis APM is going, they are saying it is Karunanidhi who has the edge. We will have our final figures at 9 p.m. Remember, in the context of Tamil Nadu, we will be looking at the final poll percentage, voting percentage, and then giving you a final vote projection for Tamil Nadu. But the early figures have shown advantage Karunanidhi, advantage LDF in Kerala, advantage Mamta in Bengal, and its advantage BJP in Assam. So, sabke haath mein laddu hai in some form or the other at the moment. We leave it back with plenty more. Rahul Kaval on the other side of the break is getting you political reactions to the poll.